Aloha and welcome, everyone. My name is Craig Hobbs, and I'm one of the solution consultants here at PagerDuty, and I'm sincerely excited to have the opportunity to talk with you today about the Rundeck platform. In this session, we'll focus on some of the challenges and common problems we often hear from our community regarding managing secrets in their DevOps environment. As everybody is well aware, managing secrets entails numerous challenges. There's just too many factors that need to be taken into account, from determining the scope of your secrets to be managed to actually choosing the most fitting solution or tool set. But the good news is that there are multiple options available today in Rundeck for proper management of your secrets data, no matter where it's located. So while I won't be addressing which secret solution is right for your environment, I will discuss facilities available in the Rundeck platform to manage your secrets and keys, and feature options that will also help you shape your solution. Taking a look at our agenda, we'll start by setting some context for secrets management and industry solutions. I'll then talk about the role of secrets in DevOps workflow and challenges using them in your automation. We'll also take a look at some of the options available within Rundeck. Lots of new options have been released in very recent days, plus talk about some new offerings and integrations that you'll find interesting. I'll round out by looking at some of the use cases that have come to us from our community and finish with a demo example of a use case. And as mentioned, we'll leave time at the end for more questions. So with that, let's start with what is secrets management? And even by asking that question, it assumes you're familiar with what secrets even are. Now, there are lots of attributes that fall into the description of what a secret is, but specifically here, we're referring to digital secrets, meaning data and items for authentication and authorization, such as passwords and tokens, encryption keys, signing keys, and others. Both machines and humans use secrets to authenticate and communicate in a variety of ways in systems and services and tools. And with that understanding and definition of secrets, secrets management now refers to the process and practices for managing these digital items and data within your enterprise. So if we understand what a secrets is and managing secrets means, let's talk about a secrets manager. So your manager now is the storage and management solution for storing any of these types of sensitive data that your application requires. It provides that centralized source of truth that empowers the organization to securely and efficiently store and control access based on your role or other factors that you can leverage as part of this privilege. And there are many different approaches and tools involved in a secrets manager. Everything from your CSPs may already have a secrets manager that you can leverage. I've seen many of our community members with homegrown options. There's even several open source options. So really kind of bringing the idea that there's no one industry standard as of yet, as the space is really evolving and offering up new options every day. But it's important to note that managing secrets can overlap with lots of different options, such as your privileged user access and management. But I want to make sure I don't go too deep into the idea of what's the best secrets manager or what's the difference between your privileged access manager, because again, there's lots of different roles that can play. So the challenge I often hear when I'm speaking with many of our community members around the digital data and assets they have is that it's just so broad across the entire IT ecosystem. But I always say in the DevOps environment is really where the challenge seems particularly amplified. And that is really due to just the dozens and dozens of orchestrations, scripts, and configuration management tools, the technologies that are used by the DevOps environment. Everything from tools like Chef and Ansible and Docker that also need access to other systems within the whole IT ecosystem, requiring more passwords, more keys, more tokens to work. Also, there's the emerging architecture of microprocesses that have really led to more explosions and uses of secrets just throughout your entire environment. So again, with the tools, microservice architecture, just finding more and more ways to create these secrets that you now have to manage. And as teams continue to move in this fast pace, you often have teams now splitting off into different silos. So not only is it just DevOps, there's testing within there, there's development, there's integration, and all of these teams need those overlapping secrets, and again, using unique tools and technologies of their own. But as vital as secrets are, I find in the DevOps environment, and with all the different cyber attacks we read about in today's news, the security hacks, ransomware situations, it still surprises me when I speak with our community members how reckless the management process is for secrets used in their automation. I still see teams with hard-coded keys and passwords in their automation processes or stored in configuration files. In one particular instance, I was speaking with one of our community members, and I was asking them, how are you managing secrets? Really, where are you going with that setup as we start talking about your Runbook automation? And they made the point of saying, well, while I have my secret in my script or in a configuration file, and it's available for all to see, you still have to privilege access to the server to get to the secret. So that's what they're using as their wall of protection. And really looking at that, I try to explain that, once you're past that wall, obviously that's out in the open, but they're trusting that that will protect them from that. So again, imagine all the secrets they have, and if they're using that as some of their, if they're using the idea of just the physical server authentication as their management, if you will, or policy, that really leaves a lot to be open, more surfaceware for attack. So just the proliferation of all of these secrets really leaves organizations with what to do, what's open, how do I use it in my automation? Effective secrets management really allows these organizations to remove these hard codes from the DevOps workflow and access all different types of tools. In that same instance where I'm working with a community member where they're accessing their secrets via authenticating to their service, in some cases they are building very strong secrets management, but they're building it focused at a specific tool. So now that's not something easily reused or passed along in the automation process. So having that effective management of it also allows your secrets to be used and automated in the process from tools, from scripts, from configurations, whatever is involved in your tool chain. And we all know how important automation is at the enterprise level, and otherwise requires literally dedicated teams to manage your secrets. Having something that you can centralize and effectively add policies to would really take the burden off of DevOps teams wondering where their secrets are, trying to understand how to use those secrets and how to use them across the variety of tools and configurations that are within their environment. Some of the common areas that we hear at Rundeck when we're kind of talking about the challenges of both managing secrets and using secrets in automation and the automation lifecycle really span across so many areas, but it all comes back to that same idea of what's your approach to secrets management. And if you don't have an approach, if you don't have an idea or solution of how those secrets get managed, you start to sprawl the questions and there starts to become a long tail of what's happening. And each question individually is scary. So you hit that point where that just one question itself is scary, especially when you're thinking of how your secrets are getting managed. And it's not just the lack of security, it's also really proper access to the secrets that leads to just some of the devastating consequences. So including the risk of attacks and theft of user credentials. And when you talk about other popular tools, I've spoken about Ansible, I've spoken about Jenkins and Puppet earlier, that are really designed for the speed and access of your environment. They bring with them additional security challenges because they'll need access to other systems downstream, databases, servers, HTTP endpoints and services. So much happens with one single secret. Again, I think a lot of times the focus is on, is everything secure? But now that you have it secure, can you properly access it and automate it through your environment? So with that, I kind of start the journey with our community members of talking to them about Rundeck. And Rundeck offers several different options, starting right with its open source edition, including a global directory-like structure for saving your public keys, your passwords for use with your job execution. So built right into the Rundeck Community Edition is a secrets manager. And once the secrets have been uploaded to Rundeck, users with the appropriate security permissions can then use a token key path to access their secrets within their jobs and executions. So this is the start of the journey really for our DevOps teams that are performing their automation right within Rundeck. You can leverage the open source default secrets manager. And that secrets manager comes with lots of full rich features, including encrypted storage for all of your keys and passwords. That can be managed at a database level, or it can be managed at a file level. For access control, Rundeck can actually restrict the secrets that are uploaded to it to a specific project, or even at a job level. So as I start adding role-based access to my users, I can determine which users at a job level can access a secret, or I might, for a particular project, isolate it out for different groups and organizations that are using Rundeck. Plus, I can manage all of the Rundeck secrets that I've uploaded directly from the Rundeck UI or the command line. And now with no hard codes available in my Runbook definitions, I can share these out amongst other teams and organizations securely. So Rundeck actually starts the journey. But what we're seeing now as we're starting to talk to more organizations is they're starting to come around to, here's where I'm going to centralize my secrets management and my policies surrounding it. And with that, we've added several new options for managing secrets within Rundeck. In addition to the open source Rundeck key store, we also provide, as part of the open source delivery, HashiCorp Vault plugins for managing secrets. But we've also introduced new options in the Rundeck Enterprise for privileged account access managers like CyberArk and Thycotic. So this just further expands on the options that you can now use within Rundeck. And really, by decoupling the management solution from the execution platform, Rundeck lets those DevOps teams now worry less about the process of authorization to the various secrets that are available, and let them focus now on the variety of tools and scripts and orchestrations that they want to use secrets in and still have that management, that security and protection for those secrets. So really, really great that now with Rundeck, you have so many choices, so many from key major vendors, as well as built right into the platform itself. So what we like to say at Rundeck is, your secrets are yours to keep. So whatever you're using, you can keep your secrets and still leverage them in your ultimate Runbook workflow. I want to look at the life cycle of a secret now with Rundeck, kind of with that background, taking a look at that life cycle. And starting with the automation of the DevOps process, I see on the right-hand side, I have a secrets manager. So whatever your central secrets manager is for authentication and authorization of your keys and credentials. But now I'm going to add Rundeck to the story. So if you have your secrets manager now looking to the left, I have Rundeck to the story. And that brings with it all these new integrations for working with your secrets manager. That includes now being able to start with authenticating a request for my Runbook automation. So this request is made at runtime. So important to note right at this juncture, Rundeck does not maintain the secrets, in the platform itself. All secrets are requested at runtime. So at the actual execution of the job. After Rundeck successfully authenticates to your secrets manager, the secret manager can then return back that key or password or credential to the Rundeck executing Rundeck job. That Rundeck job then uses that key or credential to access the specific remote resource, system, or service or tool. So we've received the key, Rundeck, the job, the Runbook job can now access that specific resource or tool. As the job now accesses that resource or tool, it's able to authenticate and execute the various jobs, the various commands, anything that's now part of your entire workflow. But then it ends at the back end. Once your job execution is complete, Rundeck effectively destroys that key, and that key does no longer persist or is maintained in Rundeck in any way. So it becomes a single use key at the very moment the job is executed. So from the life cycle, moving from right to left, I'm able to take the key from my secrets manager, bring it into Rundeck, access the resources I need, execute the proper command securely, and destroy that key all in one job execution flow. What I want to do now is start to transition over to a demo and showcase how a lot of this is done on and within the Rundeck platform, where so many of these features are available today that we've been discussing. And as I get started, as part of my demo, I'm going to be using the Thycotic Cloud. If you're unfamiliar with Thycotic, it is a very popular centralized password management system for providing visibility and control of your secrets, keys, passwords, etc. And if you choose to use different secrets managers, again, Rundeck can absolutely work with those, but Thycotic is one of the new integration points, and I thought I would include it as part of this demo, as well as discuss it as part of a specific use case that I discussed with one of our community members. In addition to Thycotic though, however, I'm also going to use the Rundeck built-in key storage facility for maintaining other passwords and private keys. Now, the advantage of Rundeck is that I can leverage multiple key stores in parallel. So now not only can I have my centralized key store third party for keys, in addition, alongside of that, I can also leverage any other key store. So that might be multiples, that might be the one built in with Rundeck, whatever the mixture might be to make sense. You might still just have one single centralized key store, but there are actually really good reasons to have multiple key stores. In this case, I could use Thycotic Centralized Secure Cloud with all of its policies for key rotation and dynamic revocation. And I can use Rundeck's key store for all of its flexibilities and access controls. So by combining them together now, I can look and imagine the different ways that these keys might come together. So very recently working through with a community member on a specific use case. And in this use case, they have the Thycotic Cloud as their centralized secrets manager. But the current focus of Thycotic was really only for their CSP assets. So all of their VMs, all of their cloud-based infrastructure pieces, whether it's in AWS, Google, Oracle, Azure, only their CSP infrastructure pieces. And while that's really good, it provides a lot of access control and auditing for this major infrastructure investment that they have. It really leaves a large excess of passwords, keys, tokens, certificates that are used by DevOps for the rest of the tool chain. So in this case, the community member, they were starting with this, and it's very key to have all of your infrastructure assets, but there's so much left over in that workflow. So the security team does have plans to migrate and include all the remaining digital data assets into the centralized Thycotic, but it just requires more planning, because now when we start talking about some of those other assets of single-use passwords or logging into other tools that maybe only certain teams are using. In the case of development, maybe they're using GitHub. In the case of the DevOps team, maybe they're using more of a Jenkins or Ansible. So each team ultimately has different tools and different requirements they need, but they're all still leveraging this centralized idea of infrastructure. So while there's plans to migrate it, until that, they weren't really sure what to do, right? They could go along kind of managing secrets the same way they have before, but now with Rundeck, they can actually leverage their centralized secret store and also use Rundeck to maintain all other remaining digital assets, right? So now in the Rundeck key store, I can simply upload all of those credentials and still have the same ability for revoking, dynamic use, removing hard codes from my automation workflows. So with that, what I want to do now is actually go ahead and I'm going to move over my screen, and let's actually go and look at what that workflow looks like live and get a better understanding of how Rundeck brings together all of these different attributes and items. So here I have a Rundeck instance that I'm going to go ahead and log into. And in my Rundeck instance, I've actually gone ahead and configured the integration for the Thycotic Cloud Server, secret store server. This information is available on the Rundeck site. It's very straightforward for setting up and integrating. You just need your credentials for authentication and authorization, and it's really a 10-minute setup. But now with that, I have access to that Thycotic Cloud Server for gathering and pulling secrets. But I also have the built-in Rundeck secret store set up as well. And if I actually come over to my secret store definitions here in Rundeck, you'll see here I have two folders. One is for Thycotic, the other is for Rundeck. If I actually click on my Rundeck setup, I'll see I have a couple of secrets that I've uploaded, a couple of passwords I've uploaded. Again, as a DevOps team, there's so many different things I have. So I have a couple passwords here that I have stored and encrypted. If I actually come back to Thycotic, what I will see get loaded up here is that Rundeck is now actually calling out to the Thycotic Cloud, and what it'll display is the API pointers back to the secrets that are in Thycotic that Rundeck is able to access. So at no time are the secrets actually stored in Rundeck. They are indeed stored in Thycotic, but I have pointers, API pointers back to those secrets so that I'm able to use them as part of my job execution. So I can see now that these pointers have been loaded. Again, they're not secrets. They simply just indicate that I have the ability to access this a secret that I've named AWS Web Server. I have one that I can access that I've named GCP instances, and I have one that I can access named Kubernetes. I'll quickly switch to my Thycotic Cloud login. And here in my Thycotic Cloud login, if I actually come into Thycotic Cloud, I can see I have several secrets already created, and these are the exact secrets we were just looking at in the Rundeck instance. So I can see there's my AWS secret, there's my GCP, and there's my Kubernetes. So these are where the secrets are actually maintained and encrypted. In the Rundeck instance, these are just pointers back. So right now I'm using 2. So what I want to do now is actually switch over to the job execution and setup for this state. So if I come over to my Rundeck Jobs, I'll see here I have a couple of sample jobs that I've defined, and I've actually put them into groupings just to allow me to better walk through this example. So I have a grouping of jobs that I have configured to use the Thycotic Cloud for its secret, and I have one where I've configured the Rundeck key storage for secrets. So in this particular setup now, all of these jobs would be pulling a secret from the Thycotic Cloud, and these would be pulling from Rundeck. Also important to note, Rundeck allows you to maintain secrets in multiple locations. Most important is you can maintain secrets as part of a node execution. So a node execution being the setup of a Rundeck node executor that will allow you to run commands on remote nodes or services. And the second being a job step. So now as a builder of a workflow, I can actually just include the reference to the secret directly in the job. And there's good reasons for doing both. If I actually take a look at just my node executor steps, so I have a couple node executor steps. So you can see here in my node executor steps, they're all maintained by my grouping in Thycotic. I have 2, one pointing to AWS, one pointing to GCP. If I actually went and looked at my Rundeck nodes here on the left-hand side, I'm going to click on nodes, and I'm going to showcase all my nodes. And this, for my setup, I have just a few demonstration nodes, some pointing to Google and some pointing to AWS. I'm going to go ahead and open the definition of my nodes. And in that definition, I can see I have several key pieces of metadata, everything from my user to my host name. But also what I can see here is my key storage path. So anything that leverages this node will use this key. And this is one of the keys I have stored in Thycotic. If I actually come back and look at one of my GCP nodes, I can see I have a few different pieces of metadata, everything from my Google project to the host name. But now I can see I'm using a different key path. So in this case, I'm pointing to the key in Thycotic, but the one specifically set up for GCP nodes. So what this is telling me is that any job I target these pieces of infrastructure with, I've already defined the meta information for access for it. And when that job executes, it will go to Thycotic, grab that information at runtime, and then allow me to execute my jobs. So if I actually come back to one of my jobs, and this is one of my jobs that is executing against the GCP infrastructure, I can look, I'm actually running several performance commands against all VMs in a specific GCP project. So everything from collecting uptime to free memory. If I actually go into the job definition itself, I can see all of the commands that I've defined as part of this job. So very, very easy workflow. I could define far more pieces and steps and complex definitions, but this is just meant to be very easy. I just want to know what the key performance stats is across all of my nodes. And if I look at the node targets for this job, I can see I'm executing it on all my Google nodes. So I've excluded my AWS nodes. I'm going at all my Google nodes. I, as the builder, am unaware of what key is set up, where that key even resides. I don't even want to know. I'm just part of I'm part of the DevOps team. I need to run jobs against these nodes. I know they're defined in the node executor themselves. I'm just here to build the workflow and target the nodes. So if I actually go off now and run this, what'll happen is Rundeck will pull the necessary key here at execution time and now start to target the various steps. As mentioned, the keys do not reside in Rundeck, and once the job is completed, the key that was pulled is effectively destroyed. So I can see now this job is running off. It's running against all my Google nodes. I can see it's pulling back some of the GCP information. It's pulling back all of the various targeted information that I've configured as part of this execution. If I come up to Thycotic, I can see all of the information associated with a key, all of the audit trail information that's associated with an individual key that's being used by the server. So this is really that idea of having a centralized management system. Now I have my key rotation, I have my authorization and access for getting keys, and my keys are now part of a proper management process. It's not tool specific, it's not maintained by some half set of hops that are really secured by my access to a server. Everything is maintained here, and Rundeck pulls it as needed as part of the job. So now as this job is completed, that key is destroyed. If I actually go into Thycotic now and go to that key, if I chose to, I could actually go ahead and deactivate that key or destroy that key, or I might have key rotation. And if I actually came back now and tried to rerun the same job again, no matter where this job is, it could really be any job that's referencing those nodes in any combination. But if I try to actually rerun this job again, it will simply let me know that all these steps are failing. And if I go into them, it'll simply let me know that it failed on the very first step. So I didn't get anywhere with this job. And if I go in and I can look, it'll let me know it was unable to find. If I look at the full stack trace, it'll let me know it was unable to get a key. So I now have all of that policy rotation, key dynamic revoking ability centralized there, and my DevOps environment is taking advantage of it. But that's just one piece of it. With Rundeck, I can also use them in job steps. So if I actually select job steps here, I see I have a couple different options for job steps. I have one that's using a local Rundeck key store, and I have one that's using Thycotic. So if I actually go to the local one that's using my Rundeck key store, I can see here I have a very simple job. And if I come into my job workflow steps, my job has a single step to it. So a very simple job. But in this job, instead of having a node executor where now as a builder, I'm confident no matter, as long as I'm targeting a specific piece of infrastructure, I've got the right secret. In this case, the secret actually gets added directly to the job. So here is my secret. I could have selected it directly from Rundeck, and this is my Rundeck key storage. So in this case, I'm not pulling it from Thycotic, I'm pulling it directly from Rundeck. So in this case, Rundeck does have the key, and I'm simply choosing that, and it's built into the job. So now as a builder, I would need to know to add this key. Again, the key is still encrypted. It's not hard coded. I can't use it. Once it is stored in Rundeck, I can't ultimately as a builder reverse it and ever see it again. But now I can hand this out to other builders within my project or in other projects to say, if you want to access this particular password secret, you can go ahead and do it and add it directly to your job. So now if I come back up to the top and I look at nodes, different from my node executor, I actually had nodes. This is just executing locally on my Rundeck server, because all I wanted to do is actually go out and check my HTTP server that my user is available, and it comes back and returns success, letting me know that I can do this. So therein is a huge difference in how you can use keys just within Rundeck and within your automated runbooks. You might use them at this larger node executor level, or you might use them individually in jobs. But either way, I can mix and match the key stores that I've configured for them. And I'll do that by coming over to my jobs again. And in this particular case, I still have one job here that's a job step, and this is for accessing a database within my infrastructure. So again, in my use case, the team, all the infrastructure is going to be maintained in that central Thycotic server until further notice, and then we'll ultimately migrate everything up. But right now I have my database query. This is my SQL. It goes out and gets variables. If I actually try to run this right now, what will actually happen is I get an error. Always love to get errors in your demos. I get an error, and that's simply because there is no key available to this particular job. So what I want to do is actually go into this job definition as I did before. Again, a single step job definition for executing SQL against a target service. And very similar to the way the previous job is set up, I'm able to define a secret here. So I'm able to select a secret that this job would use. Unfortunately, I don't have a job for this in Thycotic or in Rundeck because I have not yet configured it. And I think this is the piece that I want to demonstrate as part of the Rundeck management. So even though I'm using two different secret stores, what I actually want to do here is come into Rundeck's secret store and create a new key for this specifically in Thycotic. Because again, I want to make sure all of my infrastructure pieces are managed in that centralized store, but I can actually create it in Rundeck. I can still create this in Thycotic, that doesn't change, but I don't have to swivel in and out of those interfaces. So now as a builder, I don't even need access to Thycotic to even store secrets there. I can simply store them. I can simply create them here in Rundeck and store them in Thycotic. So now I will create a secret that is my RDB password. And by clicking save, try that again. And by clicking save, I can ultimately save this secret in Thycotic. And again, that's a huge ability because now I don't have to worry about being able to worry about moving back and forth between those two services. So now I've actually gone out and saved that secret in Thycotic as a builder. Again, it's not on the Rundeck server. If I actually return to Thycotic very quickly here, again, imagining I wouldn't, as the builder, have access to the centralized store to actually go create new ones. I can see here I have a new entry in my Thycotic server for that password. So again, it is saved, encrypted, and now managed in my centralized store. Rundeck only has simply the pointer. I can now come back to that job I was just previously working on. And I know this doesn't run, but it is a job step where I can actually put pieces in. So again, I'm that builder. I want to add my own secret. I can now come back. I still need a password for executing this. I know all are saved in Thycotic, so I'll go over to Thycotic, select my password secret. And again, not in Rundeck, it's going to pull from Thycotic, and now I can simply save this job. And now when it's run, I get a successful run and I get the output of my, in this case, database versioning. So again, all of the setup is still centralized there. This is still part of that infrastructure setup, but I'm able to use two different secret stores, depending on what secrets I'm wanting, still managing everything from Rundeck, still giving builders the ability to create secrets and manage secrets directly in jobs, but also have the ability to just have secrets built right into my node executors. So I, as a builder, don't need to know about it, don't want to know about it. I can just go ahead and design my jobs to target those remote nodes and still have all of the management and policies and rotation in that centralized store. So that really takes and expands the Rundeck secret story quite a bit. Now, having these multiple ways of combining these, this could be Thycotic, this could be your CyberArk, this could be your HashiCorp Vault. It could be all three, it could be one. But now I have the chained ability to use all of these in a format that makes sense for my solution. And that's really where I started the story with, is that your secret store and your management, your solution, there are many factors that go into what you might choose to make that decision. But Rundeck now has really put out a large number of flexible offerings that lets you choose between the solution you manage, as well as how you want to decouple and locate those secrets, but all giving you the ability to leverage them in real time across your tool chain, across your scripts, across your configuration in your automated runbooks. So I want to pause and stop there, leave time for questions, and really thank everyone for listening to some of the new offerings inside of Rundeck. If you have more questions, this demo will be available. We also have a lot of documentation where you can go and see some of the new storage plugins and see how they're configured and set up. But I'd like to hand this back to Tracy.
That's great, Craig. Really appreciate all the detail. We do have a few minutes left for Q&A, so go ahead and pop those questions in if you have any. Bill asks, can I have node-specific passwords in CyberArk?
You can establish a node-specific password in CyberArk, yes. So the password itself is just maintained in CyberArk. The actual policies of which node it'll address will be configured in Rundeck. So yes, you can have node-specific passwords.
Fantastic. We had a question. Sunil's raising her hand. You can go ahead and talk.
Hey, Bill, just wanted to understand, do we have any roadmap to integrate with the HashiCorp?
So HashiCorp is available today, and it is actually part of the Rundeck Community Edition. So if you were actually using Rundeck Community, HashiCorp is available in that edition today.
Okay, does it manage both the certificates and the passwords?
Anything that the HashiCorp Vault supports can be managed there and then leveraged in Rundeck.
Okay, so is it available with the 3.4?
Yes. Yes. So the HashiCorp plugin, I believe, has been there since the 3X line of Rundeck, but it is absolutely available in 3.4.
Okay. In continuation to the previous question on CyberArk, so can I manage or connect to the CyberArk using the Vault agents, SDK commands? Can I execute from the Rundeck?
So what you'll be looking to do is use the CyberArk SDK,
correct,
against Rundeck for managing your secrets back in CyberArk.
Correct.
I'm trying to think of the use case around that. So I would say the short answer is I don't know. We certainly could check into that. Again, I'm trying to put a use case around that. Typically, when administrators are using it, they're either because the idea of having that is that you want to either manage it from CyberArk, so you have those SDKs and you have processes that are creating that, and then Rundeck is just using them. Or if there's a need to actually, as a builder, create a secret, you can create it within the Rundeck UI because you're working and familiar with the Rundeck UI, and just store it back in CyberArk. So the idea now of using the CyberArk tool set against Rundeck to then talk back to the CyberArk Central Store. I'm trying to think of what the use case is, but we can take that and work with you on that. I'd say the short answer is right now, I don't know, but
sure,
would love to dig more with you.
That would be helpful. We are using the enterprise version, so that would be helpful.
Okay. Yeah, we'd love to dig more with you on that and see how we can help you there.
Great. Thank you, Sunil. We did have another question come in from Karthik. He asks, can integration be possible with offline Thycotic server?
Yes, it can be done with the offline version of Thycotic. So I use the Thycotic cloud here as part of that integration, as part of my demo setup, just for showcasing the centralized piece, but it does work with the offline version as well.
Well, thank you, Craig, again, and everyone for joining in the fantastic questions. We love when this becomes a conversation. Like I said, the slides and recording will be available to all registrants shortly. That does conclude today's webinar. Have a great day, everyone.